Okay, and this is a meeting that is designated a public comment meeting, and so we have some rules that we have to follow. And if Al is going to do he's going to give a little presentation here on how you can interact with the commission. If he doesn't include the public comments part of it, I'll add that when he's finished. So.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening. My name is Alfonso Masqua. I'm with the Utilities Division, Consumer Services. I believe I spoke with a few of you in the past regarding some issues. Put that down. I have some forms I will not be providing, but there's access for you to receive them through our website. And also, at the end of the meeting, if you wish, you can provide me with your email address, and I can send you, there's frequently asked questions, the sample letter on how to file a motion to intervene with docket control, and also the form that you can fill out online electronically. But you may ask, what is it to file a motion to intervene or an intervener? And that's basically, it's the process in which a person is allowed to become part of the case that is not currently part of the current rate case, and you work directly with commission staff. You file evidence in the case if there is a hearing that goes forward, and there's you will be basically, the reason why you mainly are filing motion is because it's going to impact you if that rate case decision is rendered. But this person,
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's all the way up. I coming through.
You mumble.
It's all the way up.
You can go right to the front of the podium.
There's something better.
Sorry if I'm giving you my back.
No worries.
How about now? Better? Okay. And I do apologize if I'm screaming. But basically, these forms are available online. You would file the motion, and then the judge will review your letter and your application, which is a one-page form, and then grant you intervention. At that point, you become party to the case, along with the utility and commission staff. So our website, if you want to write it down, but I can also provide it to you at the end of the meeting, is www.azcc.gov. I can give it to you at the end. So if you want more information, there's a frequently asked questions online that I can also email you once I get back to the office if you provide me your email address. Yes, sir.
There are two people here, myself being one, who've already filed to be interveners, but we haven't been notified if we are or are not accepted.
At the end of the meeting, provide me your contact information, and I will look into that for you. See where the status. Yes, sir.
Some of us don't play around with computers and stuff. It's a flip phone. It doesn't even have call waiting.
Okay, I can mail it to you.
Okay.
Okay, provide me your contact information as well. Yes, sir.
How far away is the decision going to be made? What date?
That I would leave up to the commissioners.
What was the question?
How far away is the decision?
Well, that's pretty hard to answer at this point in time, because we don't know what all the steps may be in this process. There could be an evidentiary hearing, which is where the interveners are participants, and testimony is taken, sworn testimony is taken from the utility, from the staff, from the interveners, and we really can't give you an estimate on that.
What does this meeting do?
Well, this meeting here is to allow us, the commissioners, to get input from you, the customers. And the way the meeting works is that we cannot get into a question and answer discussion type of exchange. We just have to take whatever information you have, and it'll all be recorded, and it will become part of the record of the rate case.
And will this be presented to the ones that are gonna make the decision?
Well, it goes into a docket, which is available to all of the commissioners, all of the staff, actually it's a public docket. And so all the participants in the case can access it. It does not come to the level of evidentiary testimony where we have sworn testimony in our evidentiary hearings. But it is important for us, the commissioners, to hear from you so that we understand what the situations are, especially if there are problems. We need to know about those. And so what happens with the evidentiary hearing and the rate case, you could end up in a situation where there is a settlement. If there's a settlement, then the members of the staff, the utility, the interveners, are the ones that negotiate and decide what to settle on. That is a recommendation that is written by the administrative law judge that presides over the case, and the recommended order written by the administrative law judge is what is presented to us, the commissioners, and then we make a decision. We can either accept it as written, we can reject it, or we can modify it. So it's important that we have your information so that we can make a good decision at that point in time.
So a decision hasn't been made yet?
No. So if we can go ahead and get started, we'll call on each one of you, and we'd like to limit the time to about 3 minutes, if you possibly can get your points made within a 3-minute period, so that we can get everybody in and not be too late here this evening. So we'll go ahead and get started. Susan Williams, got you down first.
You've applied to be an intervener.
I have not submitted the application to be an intervener. 2 other members of our community have.
So you did not?
I have not yet done that.
Okay.
I was waiting for the results of this meeting tonight.
Okay, are you Norm?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is Sam.
You're Sam, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't think I knew you.
You can run, but you can't.
That's right. You're right. Okay.
All right. Well, good evening, commissioners. I am Susan Williams. My husband and I live at 3655 South Riverside Drive, and we also own 3675 South Riverside Drive. I have many concerns regarding the unaudited rate increase request from Lake Verde Water, but will limit my comments to the engineering costs submitted by Heritage Land Surveying, which is also owned by Dugan McDonald, the owner of Lake Verde Water. The rate case application references engineering costs from Mills Engineering for $3,800. Heritage has also submitted an invoice for $2,500 for surveying, as well as the well site where the arsenic treatment system is located, and references this as Tract D. A second invoice from Heritage in the amount of $5,000 was also submitted, and only states that Heritage, quote, provided engineering services at Lake Verde Water Company's Tract C. So my questions are, number 1, what services did Mills Engineering provide? Number 2, where exactly is Tract C and what services did Heritage provide? Number 3, does Heritage Land Surveying have an engineer on staff? These costs seem vague and exorbitant. By the way of example, we personally, my husband and I, hired Heritage to survey one of our lots a few years ago, and I have a copy of that invoice for $500 as opposed to the $7,500 that was submitted for this. So that's quite a far cry, and he charged his own water company. We, the customers of Lake Verde Water, should not be held responsible for this self-serving charge, in my opinion. Thank you very much. I have copies of everything here to submit.
Well, you've been recorded as well.
Thank you.
And that goes for the rest of you. All of this will be recorded and put into the record.
Well, I have copies of the invoices and the records, so if I can, I'd like to leave those
You
with.
can leave them well,
Over here?
either place, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Tristan's Giffers?
Griffiths.
Giffers?
my name is Tristan Griffiths. I live at 756 East Terrace Lane. In the rate case, Mr. Williams was paid for project management $1,715. However, Mr. Williams was the project manager for Global Water and was to receive a stipend for being project manager. I believe that Mr. Williams was paid twice for the project, and documentation should be subpoenaed from Global Water records in order to justify the receipt of the funds of this project. Lake Verde Water Company rate case application also includes 2 invoices from engineering and testing consulting. One for $1,715 and another for $570. These total a grand total of $2,285. If Lake Verde Water would have built the 10 by 10 building that was stipulated by Arizona Corporation Commission decision number 75159, these costs would not have been required and should not be included in the rate case for us to burden. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca Alcorn.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Alcorn and I live at 3645 South Riverside Drive, and I've been a resident for 20 years. In response to the document docketed by Lake Verde Water Company on April 2nd of 2018, the building was not approved for a workspace and a golf cart storage, and to date has not been utilized as such. Only the approved 10 by 10 building should have been constructed. Even if the 30 by 40 building had been approved for these uses, it does not explain the almost 2-story height. That would not be necessary for meter and line repairs or golf cart storage. The hay that was stored in this building was only removed after a complaint was filed with the Arizona Corporate Commission, and the commission instructed Lake Verde to immediately remove it. As customers of the Lake Verde Water, we should not be responsible for the additional land preparation cost, the additional construction cost, or the ongoing maintenance cost of this building. All overage should be reimbursed by Lake Verde Water, and the shrinking fund for the additional maintenance of this building should be reestablished and paid for by Lake Verde Water. I thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I now have Cliff Hollins, who has marked the slip as not necessary to speak, and is as opposed to the rate increase. So. Gary Sybil.
Hi, my name is Gary Seibel, and I live at 736 East Terrace Lane. When I received the customer notification of Lake Verde Water's request for a rate increase, I had no clue whether it was a fair request. So I went to the WIFA website and their table of rate structures for water companies across the country. In order to compare apples to apples, I narrowed my search to small water companies of comparable size to Lake Verde Water. I found 7 such companies in Yavapai County. I found that the tier structure requested by Lake Verde to be similar to the other companies in the county. The big difference was in the basic charges. The basic charge requested by Lake Verde is $64 for a 5/8 inch meter. The next most expensive basic charge is $38 for the Bradshaw Water Company. The average basic charge for all of the companies is $24.14. While it is clear that Lake Verde Water is due a rate increase, I think that $53.50 basic rate increase is excessive and will negatively affect most of the ratepayers. Unfortunately, I cannot walk into Social Security office and say, my water company just raised my rates through the roof and I'm going to need a raise. It doesn't work that way. All we're asking for is a fair and reasonable water bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jeannie Grossmeyer.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming up here to Camp Verde this evening, and thank you, Mr. Thurman, for attending. The 2 issues that I put on my paper is obviously the rate increase, although some of these folks have done a much better job of breaking it down. I know what I paid when I first got there, which was unbelievably low, but it averaged between $17 and $20, and I'm talking about in the summertime. And I'm aware that everybody else's was very low because my husband actually used to read the meters for Van McDonald. They definitely needed improvements on the well, on the lines, on everything. Some of this is obviously, it's needed. But that brings me to the other part of what I wanted to talk about, and that is they're seeming just ignoring the fact that they need to go through proper permitting. And this was brought up 2 years ago in this same room to Van McDonald. And I guess they were asked by you to have some kind of we had some kind of a meeting. And even then, they more or less, they chided me for having been an employee of the county, which I don't know what that had to do with it, because I am a person who lives in this subdivision. I am a retired person now from the county, but I still know how to research permits. And these folks, to this day, have never permitted the 3 10,000-gallon tanks that are on this property. As a matter of fact, there is now an open complaint on that. Also, I do understand that these may be used tanks. I don't know that that's an issue. However, just like the oversized building that they built, there's no real need for a building that size at a wellhead site. There just isn't. And the only thing that you can do is maybe store things in it, which they immediately did with this hay issue. I don't think I agree with the other folks here. We shouldn't be paying for a building that size because it's not necessary. They did get a permit for it. They got a permit for the fence. They also have not followed through on their change of use permit. That's still a shell building. Now, they did get an extension for their change of use to, I think it's November of this year. However, they haven't complied with, again, the tanks that are there, or, we're years into it now. It's a functioning facility, and they never followed through on the change of use. I think somebody at your level needs to look into this. That's an issue. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Robert and Geneva I'm sure I'm messing that name up. I'm sorry. Robert and Geneva.
Pamasevich?
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The Verde Water Company. Okay. We got 3 huge tanks out there. Before, it looked like a 55-gallon drum. Now, why do we need 3 huge tanks for this community? And our bill is over $100, which our water is like $30. Now, why do we have to pay that much money when they already got relief from their payment? Nobody's made a judgment on that. The water is going to be almost $100 just for the water, not including any excess or charges that are put on it. And I don't believe this community will want to pay for it. That's just ridiculous. Nothing's done out there. They got the old well in place. Nothing's happened there. Has anybody seen anything happen since they put in the big tanks? Do we need big tanks like that? I think it's an overkill. We're paying for the next generation, and I don't think we should. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, William, and I'm sorry I can't make out the last name. Looks like it starts with a D.
Probably
Okay, you and
3646 Riverside? That's you,
Well, I
William.
don't, I don't have a lot to say.
Why don't you come to the
Yeah,
podium
here
because
so we get it
you're-
on the recording.
I don't have a lot to say. I'd just like to know why we're not getting the service that we're supposed to have. We don't have fire plugs. Our water pressure is supposed to be from 80 to 100 pounds. And when mine was checked, it was 40 pounds. And when I left the house a little while ago, it was just dribbling. But they want these big prices, but they ain't gonna give you the service. And as far as the arsenic goes, I don't think anybody drinks the water anyway. Really, I don't know if anybody drinks the water. And what do you have to do? You're washing your clothes, you gotta worry about arsenic? I don't think so. Anyway,
Okay, thank you. Sam. Zuckowitz.
Good evening. My name's Sam Jokowitz. I live at 733 East River Glen Drive. In decision number 75159, page 26, it states, "It is further ordered that the financing authority granted herein is expressly contingent upon Lake Verde Water Company Incorporated's use of the proceeds of the loan only to A. Install a centralized arsenic treatment plant as described in finding of fact number 66, and B. Install the plant items described for NARUC accounts 304, 311, and 330 in the table of findings of fact number 68. Decision number 75159, page 18, under finding of fact number 68 in the table under NARUC account 304 states pump house building 10 by 10 metal with lighting and heat, upper site fencing, foundation and installation, grading and clearing, one lot, total cost $5,500. David Rosanico submitted invoices for a 30 by 40 building in the amount of $20,850 plus an additional $500 change order, which totals $21,350. We, the customers, should only have to bear the cost for the 10 by 10 building and not a 30 by 40 building. Decision number 75159 specifically dictates to Lake Verde Water Company financing authority granted herein is expressly contingent upon Lake Verde Water Company Incorporated's use of the proceeds of the loan only to. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, I got the last name this time, Joseph S.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Stoltman. Me and my wife live at 3652 South Riverside Drive. In Lake Verde Water Company's rate case application, they submitted two invoices from Mahan Concrete Construction. One for $10,058.64 and another for $1,257.33, which totals $11,315.97. The company was supposed to build a 10 by 10 building according to decision number 75159. Instead, they built a 30 by 40 building, leaving us to bear the burden of an oversized building. Mr. McDonald docketed a letter on August 2nd to now justify the use of such a large building. The water company and its customers should not bear the burden of the excessive costs. Mr. Dugan and Alan Williams at the last public meeting both admitted that Mr. Dugan paid the overage in costs due to the building. We need to see receipts in his repayment to WIFA for these costs. Thank you.
Thank you. John Sheedley?
John.
Good evening. My name is John Snively. Live at 517 East Gale Lane. Just some of the same complaints as many other people here. Right now, the water bill for $20 worth of usage is being, comes out to $90 with the fees and surcharges. In the future, it could be upwards of $220, $240 for that same bill. Why, in fact, are the arsenic surcharge is still there if that project's been completed, or is that surcharge gonna stay indefinitely. You know, completely reasonable with some sort of rate hike, but just the numbers that are being presented seem a little absurd amidst all the other questionable things that are going on with the company. And that was it.
Okay, thank you. Norm Rask.
I'm Norm Rask. I live at 723 River Glen Drive. I'm a licensed contractor in Arizona. I don't believe the costs for the arsenic building are justifiable. According to Yavapai County Building Code Policy, PB-21, paragraph 3, page 1, dated January 1 of 2015, it states, detached, non-habitable structures exceeding 400 square feet in size may be subject to a soils analysis as determined by the building official at the time the first inspection, dependent on site conditions and visual inspection. Thus, in Lake Verde Water Company if Lake Verde Water Company had adhered to their initial request for a 10 by 10 building, which is 100 square feet, no testing or engineering would have been required. And so, according to the plan my company received on a request for a bid of this project, it shows a 24 by 40 building. The building incrementally increased as the company realized it was only accountable to themselves. The intent of this project is to provide safe potable water for this community, not to increase the value of Lake Verde Water Company.
Thank you. Okay, the next slip I have is Ed Riddell, who says not necessary to speak.
I have 100 of them.
So does Ed wish to speak or not? No. Does not? Okay, good. We got that. All right, Larry Bradley.
The only thing I've got to say is if you look around here, most of us are all on fixed incomes.
Amen.
And it's too damn much of an increase. I mean, I can believe paying our fair share, but this is, it's not equal to, it's more than.
It's absurd.
And it's just, I mean, my bill will be, it used to be $18 will be $135 to $140 if this increase goes through. I mean, that's ridiculous. I feel that we're being asked to pay for the negligence of the water company over the past however long they've been running the show. That they have just been negligent, they haven't done what they say they're going to do. Whoever, I don't know if it's the state, the EPA, or whatever, I feel is just as guilty because they allowed this to go on for so many years with the arsenic and everything else in the water. I guess that's all I gotta say.
Okay, thank you. And you were Larry, right?
Larry, yeah.
Okay. And next is Bob Ruglowski.
I live at, my wife and myself live at 537 East Gale Lane, down in the subdivision here. One of the things that I was very concerned with, as a lot of the folks have brought up, is that the increase in rates that they're asking for is about 5 times what it is now. And that is just crazy. I think, you know, if you want double the rate, that's one thing, but 5 times the rate, that's really ridiculous. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that the water company back in, let's see, what was it, 2015, also applied for a rate increase, and I don't know if the Corporate Commission ever did anything with that or not, but they, the docket number was W01557A-15-009 ETAL. What that means, I don't know. But they applied, Lake Verde Water Company applied for emergency rate increase and approval for the rate, for incurring a debt. Now, what that was, I don't know. But one of the things that I think everybody in our division down there should get a profit and loss statement at the end of the year, end of their fiscal year, so we know what the heck is going on. We don't have any transparency into the water company whatsoever. In fact, it's almost run like a lot of folks have brought up. It's like the mafia running. 'Cause I had a leak out in the front of our yard by the water meter, but it was on their side. It had been reported for the last 3 months, and they never did anything with it until here about 3 days ago. They finally came out, replaced it. In the meantime, I'm sure several hundred gallons of water was wasted. And they put down in our water bill that they read the meter, and I'm sure they didn't read the meter through over a foot of water, muddy water. So there's a lot of estimations, a lot of really poor business practices that this company has done. Prior to about 3 years back, to 2002, they had 14 times, 10 times our rate. And the way they did it was when they people read the water meter correctly, but when it was transposed to the bill, they moved the decimal point over one. So instead of getting charged $40 for the water, I got charged $4,000 for the water. That's not right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Daniel Kimball.
I just kind of want to echo some things that, you know, what everybody said. I'm not as smart as some of my neighbors here. My name's Dan Kimball. I live at 3682 South Riverside. Been there for 35 or 40 years, something too long to count. I think we need to improve the water system here. And the question I have, I mean, I'm looking at this letter of operating income of $2,800, and they want to take it to $33, and I don't know if that's a monthly income or a yearly, what they're saying here. The transparency is really the issue. Every time I've dealt with these people or hear something, it's like a old boy song and dance shuffle, the usual, you know, thing you get from some of the people around here. Now I know that, you know, I'm not trying to put these people down. They bought a white elephant and they're trying to make good on it, but not on my back. I'm retired. A lot of these people are retired. We cannot afford a $150 water bill. The emergency interim surcharge, $45, which we've been paying since 2015, August 1st. It's August 1st, 2018, 3 years. That's about $60,000. What I understood at the last meeting with the McDonald's was we only had to pay off $50,000 plus some interest, but we had to pay the corporation commission. We had to pay all these other people. Well, why don't we see some numbers written down somewhere? Why don't we receive something that tells us, where can I get that information? You're spending money, you say you have to, you say you need more money. I understand that, it's not an easy thing. Camp Verde Water Company has over 1,500 customers. They've been in business a long time, but they pipe 10 miles. They have wells all over the place. And their base rate is only $23. And I know that they need to do this, but you know, it seems to me it's getting a little shady. It seems to me we're getting walked on. And fair is fair, and it's not fair. That's my statement.
Thank you. Okay, I have Jeannie L. Keller, and you got both marked here. You want to speak and you don't want to speak. So, do you really want to speak? All right.
Well, I wasn't going to. I was, and I wasn't going to. Now I am. I'm just concerned about where the $64 rate increase that number came from. I see it on there, and I don't know what justifies it. You know, what makes it worth? Because I was paying $12 because I live by myself and I don't irrigate and I don't water my plants, and I got the base rate, and now it's going to be $64. Well, why that much change? That's what I want to know. That's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, that's the last slip. Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak? Anybody here? We need you to fill out a slip so that we can.
Do I need to fill it out?
Yeah, you can do that after you speak.
Okay, thank you.
We need to be able to get in touch with you if we have a question.
Okay, my name is Sue Benson. I live at 722 East La Marcia. And I want to thank all my fine neighbors that have done all this work. This is the first time I've ever attended one of these, and I feel a little ignorant on this whole process and the whole water company, because I've always lived where water was provided by the city. So this has become an education, but anyways, my customer notification, the thing that really popped out at me was, like Mr. Kimball stated, was they realized an operating income of $2,800. But there's no line item accounting for any of this, and then they want to increase the revenue to $30,000, but I'm understanding, what is this for? Why do they need this? What infrastructure are they going to do? Are they increasing their salaries? Is there an operating utility costs that they need to do? And I've learned from my wonderful neighbors that it's for a lot of other different things. But and I was wondering, I work for the government. I manage, in one of my duties, 43 houses, and we have a consumer price index that we go by for our annual rates for water, sewer. It covers their infrastructure, and for water that metered, it's only 0.0055 cents per gallon for 5,000 to 7,500 gallons a month, and that maybe equals $40. I also want to know the surcharge that we were billed back in 2015 for the facility, I'm assuming to build, to get rid of the arsenic. When will that surcharge go away? I haven't seen anything about that. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Sure. And then we'd like to get a slip from you as well when you're finished.
My name is Art Jenkins. I live at 492 East La Marcia Drive, which is in the subdivision. And what I have to say is, some of it might be hearsay, but here in, I believe it was 14, the water company that feeds our subdivision was offered to the homeowners association for nothing, and then we refused it, and the guy got all mad in the face because we wouldn't take it. He says it's a money-making proposition, but you won't take it. And I think he knew that what's going on now was coming up to get the arsenic out of the water at that time. Because I've only been here for 18 years, but the arsenic was in the water at that time, and they knew it, because we would get a printout of what was in the water. And the other thing that I'm sure is hearsay, but my wife got a phone call from her neighbor yesterday evening saying no matter what happens at this meeting and what the outcome is, everybody in the subdivision's rates are going to go up by $50. And I got a phone call saying the same thing, and the person would not identify himself this morning about 9 o'clock. And it said that the commission can't do a damn thing about it. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
I got one more thing.
You gotta come up here and you gotta be on camera, you gotta tell them your name, you
Larry Bradley, 3632 South Riverside
I think
Drive.
your slip said you didn't want to speak, actually.
On this surcharge that we're paying, what are the possibilities that the rate increase gets put on hold until the surcharge is paid off? Is that a possibility? Is that even something that can even be talked about?
Well, again, we're not supposed to get into exchanges here during a public comment.
I won't hold you to it.
'Cause here's the way this thing works. You're at odds with the water company, right? So there's a conflict that has to be decided, and that's our job. So we have to decide who's right, who's wrong, or whatever, and we cannot take sides. We have to remain neutral until all of the evidence is presented to us. And that's part of this whole process of the evidentiary hearing and the judge writing up the order and all of that. And so we have to be very careful that we don't show any favoritism for one side or the other, or the side that doesn't like that will see that we don't participate. And so we have to be very careful. So that's why we only take input in these.
I guess my question is it a possibility that it could be brought up for discussion between you folks?
If anybody that's here that are signed up as interveners, those are the people that you need to ask or talk to make sure that the questions that you want answered during the proceedings get answered, because they're going to be a participant within that process.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that concludes the meeting, and again, thank you all for being here.
Can I just say one last thing? Just so, for those of you who do have a computer and can get online, when these hearings start, if they're down in Phoenix, wherever they might be, you can actually go online and watch them live. And you can reply and send messages online into the docket directly. So as you're watching testimony or what have you, you reach out to your interveners, but that doesn't stop you from filing into the docket any comments you want to make. So you can actually watch it live on the internet, and it's at our website at azcc.gov. You go right there, and it'll say live proceedings. You can click on that button, and you can watch the proceeding going on, and not just the one where we'll make a decision. You can watch the intervention and watch all of the data that gets presented by our staff, by the interveners, of course, and also by the water company.
And we can do input?
So you can always go to the docket and write comments in there, because that's a public record document, which the commissioner and everybody, it's all part of the public record, just like this is today. So just you might not see us back here again. You may. I might come up here and have that meeting here. But the truth is that you will always be able to watch it at your home if you care to, just online. I know you have the flip phone still. My dad's got a flip phone. It doesn't work on the flip phone.
I got grandkids that can program.
That's it right there. So I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. It's really special that you all show up, and I appreciate you coming here. And have a safe ride.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.